Well, those beautiful pictures from the mother city there in Cape Town, where the World Economic Forum on Africa is kicking off this morning. Our President Cyril Ramaphosa will be addressing a Brand SA breakfast meeting in Cape Town on this.
So the pre-World Economic Forum breakfast gathering is an opportunity for Team South Africa to develop an integrated approach to the country's input into the WEF deliberations. Our business team is there. We're going to be crossing shortly to Nzinga Qunta, who is in Cape Town. And we're also going to try and take that address live from the President, because I believe that I'm not sure if he is already addressing the breakfast briefing or he's about to address it.
But he is, of course, expected to touch on the current events taking place in the country. And I think many people very keen to hear the President's views on what is currently going on.
All right. Well, we'll certainly bring that to you once we get word of what's happening in Cape Town. But I think it's time to get some sports news now, because I know that Sakina and I are not very happy with what's happened at the US Open. Roger Federer out. We're happy we've still got Serena. We agree a lot, but we don't necessarily agree all the time.
But we agree on Roger and Serena.
I'm not a soccer lover as you are, and we don't have differing teams, so I don't care about that. But tennis, we're on the same page, so we're okay. Valen Federer out. Oh, hang on. I think before we get sports news, sorry, Valen. I know that's devastating, but we've got to go to Cape Town. We believe that the President is speaking, so let's cross live to that.
Stand up and say, we want to bring an end, and we are going to bring an end to the abuse of women and children. And I'd also like to say that as a government, we are recommitting ourselves to doing everything that we can through the various agencies that we have, the criminal justice system, to make sure that those who are accused of perpetrating this violence against women are brought to book and are dealt with in the most severe manner. People like that do not belong here in South Africa, and it is for this reason that the women of our country are rising up, but rising up calling on us as men to do something to bring an end to gender-based violence. But at the same time, we are also facing another huge challenge, the challenge of a number of our people who are taking the law into their own hands, much as they have certain grievances. And I've said that taking action against people from other nations is not justified and should never be allowed in our beautiful country. South Africa is a home for all. And indeed, we are not the only country that has become home for people who are fleeing from other nations. Not countries like Uganda, they have millions of people from the surrounding countries who go to them. Countries like Kenya, they also have millions of people who throng to their land. And we as South Africans, we know that there are quite a number of other foreign people who come to our country, and we should make sure that we live side by side with them. And if there are problems and challenges, we should be able to find ways of addressing those problems and challenges. Whether it is problems of criminality that is perpetrated by people who may be coming from other countries, and indeed our own nationals as well. It does not mean that we should take the law into our own hands and attack those people. I want to commend our security forces for the actions that they have taken in arresting the number of people who have been perpetrating these acts of violence. And we are hoping that they will strengthen their resolve and make sure that today and the days that are coming, we quell those incidents of unrest. South Africa must be a country where everyone feels safe, from women, from everyone, including foreign nationals, to be able to walk in our country, work in our country, play in our country, knowing that they are safe. Allow me then to begin by thanking Brand SA for organizing this breakfast, this seminar. I haven't seen any food here. I was told I was coming to a breakfast. This is a valuable platform to all of us as South Africans, and indeed there are other people here, to share insights on what is being done and what we can still do to improve this beautiful country that we live in, particularly in relation to improving its position as a global investment destination. This seminar takes place at an important time. A new administration has come into office following the elections that we just held in May, and we are finalizing as we speak what we call the medium-term strategic framework, which is going to outline and define the program that we want to have going forward as a nation, where we will be able to detail government's program in the next 5 years. It is nearly 1 year since we announced the economic stimulus and recovery plan to respond to poor levels of economic growth and slow job creation. And of course, a number of people said, well, this is not a stimulus plan. And we said, yes, but it is a stimulus plan with South African characteristics. We're always very creative. We come up with our own terms and issues. In just over 2 months' time, we will be hosting the second South African Investment Conference as we work towards achieving our goal of securing 1.2 trillion rand in new investment. While the quarterly growth figures announced yesterday are encouraging, and many of us felt they lifted us and may suggest the green shoots of recovery in our economy, the reality is that our economy is barely growing to address the challenges that our country faces. And while the economy is creating new jobs, the jobs that are being created are not nearly enough to bring down the overall rate of unemployment. And we've faced high unemployment rate for quite a number of years. It dipped sometime during 2011 and so, but we do need to do much more to increase the level of job creation in our country. We are dealing with the challenges of the past, whilst at the same time working to undo the devastating legacy of our past. And this is all known to all of us. We are hard at work to stimulate growth, to ensure economic stability, and to restore the credibility of state institutions. State institutions that had been weakened over time, they are being rebuilt, being repositioned, and that is an arduous task that takes time. We recognize the urgency with which we need to reform our investment promotion architecture to remove policy, regulatory, and other impediments. And this morning I'd like to hear the remnants of all those impediments that still exist. South Africa at the moment ranks 82nd place amongst 190 economies in the world's Bank Economic Report on Ease of Doing Business Index. While we may not see the results of our efforts immediately, this administration has set itself the ambitious goal of being in the top 50. We have developed a roadmap with short, medium, and long-term goals, and we are actively engaging with a number of role players in our economy. Organized business is being engaged, labor is being engaged, and indeed, including community organizations as well, are also being engaged. And we are doing this so that we can improve the indicators that everybody keeps talking about, like, for instance, the ease of starting a business, property registration, taxation, and a number of other issues. We will be expanding the one-stop shop approach to ensure potential investors are not shunted from pillar to post between different departments and agencies in search of support and the services that need to be provided by the state. All of us in this room share a common goal to make our country the destination of choice when it comes to doing business. We all want to build an economy that is more equitable and from which all South Africans can benefit. This was never the case in the past, all of us are now committed to this very, very noble objective. In pursuit of this effort, there's been demonstrable progress in the implementation of the Economic Stimulus and Recovery Plan. Reform of our visa regime is ongoing and it is improving on an ongoing basis. A list was recently issued to new countries with tourism growth and potential that will receive visa waivers. We will soon be piloting an e-visa program as part of our immigration modernization drive, where we will be relying more and more on technology. A critical skills list is also being developed and finalized to guide future plans to attract highly skilled immigrants who we would like to welcome to our country. We're taking measures to reduce financial costs of doing business, and we are making sure that these are implemented with greater speed. And all of these issues have been raised by many of you who are here as the business community. And this gives credence to our ability to be able to work together, to be able to address issues on a collaborative basis. There have also been reductions in port and rail tariffs, and this will continue as we seek to make our ports much more attractive for the entry of goods from other countries. We have moved to clear up uncertainty in the policy space with the finalization, as you all know, with the mining charter and the release of the policy directive for the release of high demand spectrum. Work on a draft oil and gas bill to guide the development of these burgeoning economic sectors is at an advanced stage, and the integrated resource plan, which will deal with our energy architecture, that will outline the trajectory of our energy future, is also close to being finalized. In support of accelerated industrialization, we are refining our industrial policy or strategy. We're refining it so that it can focus more on a number of key growth sectors, including renewable energy, agriculture, as well as oil and gas. I did say in the State of the Nation address in June that we want to strengthen private-public partnerships in infrastructure development. In fact, I did say that the approach of this administration is to ensure that we work hand in hand in a very collaborative way with business across a number of platforms. The construction and the upgrade of roads, schools, dams, hospitals, clinics and human settlements are key to social upliftment and job creation in our country, and that is where the public sector as well as the private sector needs to be working hand in glove. Furthermore, there is immense investment potential in economic infrastructure like energy plants, transportation, telecoms and fiber outputs and all that. And these are areas where there can be close working together. We have set aside, as you all know, 100 billion rand over 10 years for a national infrastructure fund. And this is just to ignite and to entice the private sector to participate with us in creating this huge fund that we want to see financing infrastructure built up in our country. In the past year, we have taken measures, definite and clear measures to root out corruption in the public sector and to restore stability in key state institutions. Now, many South Africans keep on saying that, no, we have heard, but we have not seen anything being done. And in this case, they obviously would like the president to go around with handcuffs and start arresting a number of people. Now, I don't know how many of you would be liable for such arrest if I were to move around with handcuffs. Now, this is being left to the institutions that we have set in place. They are the ones that must now take action. Our task as government is to facilitate the ability of these institutions to be able to do their work. so that they do their work without any fear or favor or any form of prejudice. Now this is what we have set ourselves to doing. We are rebuilding all those institutions. New boards and management are in place in a number of our state-owned enterprises which still face huge challenges. And we are confronting those challenges and we are revamping them. Having come from a state capture milieu or situation, we are rebuilding those, and in a number of cases, the challenges that we are facing emanate from our past. But we are on the path of ensuring that these are addressed. We have taken decisive measures to address the situation at Eskom, and we continue taking those measures. We are now preparing to ensure that we address the issue of Eskom in a much more comprehensive manner, instead of doing, patch-up jobs here and there. We will be coming out with a much more comprehensive plan on what we should be doing with Eskom as we go forward. The Chief Restructuring Officer has been appointed to manage the whole process of restructuring the company into separate entities: generation, transmission, and distribution. Government has committed funds over the next 3 years to assist Eskom to meet its obligations, of course on condition that it takes the necessary steps to return to financial sustainability. Now, as I said, a special paper is being prepared in this regard. Now, the latest unemployment figures underline the fact that we need to take steps to address this challenging problem that faces our country by creating opportunities, particularly for young people, that will bring more of our people into the economy, a comprehensive plan to create more new economic opportunities for young people will be driven by a special unit in the presidency, working together with a number of players in the private sector, and some of whom are sitting here with us. And this is where this collaborative working together is really coming into its own, where we will be working together at close range. Now, existing initiatives that incorporate private sector participation are going to be expanded in an exponential manner. More funds will be made available to the expanded public works program that provides work opportunities for millions of South Africans. And the National Youth Service will be expanded to absorb more young people on a yearly basis. Funding has been set aside for the Township and the Rural Entrepreneurship Fund, which we spoke about. In partnership with the private sector and NEDLEC, we also are working to implement agreements of last year's Job Summit. And I said, when I received the first report, that I'd like myself and the Deputy President and other ministers to be at a meeting every first Monday of each month to receive reports. We've now had 2 meetings, and it is very encouraging to see South Africans from the private sector, business, and labor, as well as communities and government working together to address the challenge of jobs. Now, over the next few months, this committee will address the key constraints to greater investment and growth, such as the cost of doing business. And this committee that we will be meeting the first Monday of every month have said we also want to discuss issues that impede growth and job creation as we address unlocking the various interventions that we arrived at the Job Summit. So each meeting will focus on each sector. And what I love about this is that we now have a group of South Africans who've now committed themselves on an ongoing basis to look at each sector of our economy, to see what the performance is, and to see the extent to which we can unlock all those impediments in every sector of our economy. We're also going to have sector players coming to this committee and outlining precisely the challenges that they are facing on an ongoing basis as they seek to create jobs and to make their businesses profitable. Now, this approach is informed by our determination that we can only address the challenges we confront through partnership and, as I said, through collaboration. And we will only be able to meet our targets if we are, as South Africans, all working together, ensuring that we achieve the goals that we set out for ourselves. We've seen progress being made through the public-private growth initiative, where investment projects are being developed in over 19 sectors. Now, this was initiated by Dr. Van Zyl, Rolf Meyer, and Minister Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma once they had come to see me. And I encouraged them that we should focus on this. This is being done and being shepherded also going forward by Minister Mthembu and other colleagues. Now, this is a clear microscopic focus on various sectors to see the extent to which we can create jobs in there. All these measures to grow our economy must be underpinned by macroeconomic stability. This includes a firm commitment by this administration to fiscal discipline and prudence, to stabilizing public finances and to managing the national debt to GDP ratio. The new macro organization of government I announced earlier this year will, once fully implemented, assist in reducing the cost of government. It will also enable us to review and, where necessary, to dispense with government entities and programs that have proven to be unviable and not cost-effective. Some of the economic measures we have put in place may take some time to demonstrate returns or benefit, but they have nevertheless been impactful, and we intend to carry on with the work that we have started. We are resolute that what we have done so far is both correct and necessary. We continue to pursue economic growth together with our developmental aspirations. Investing in South Africa is not just about securing decent returns. It must also be about staking a claim in the future of a great nation that has the means, much as it is dealing with enormous challenges. Some of whose challenges come from our horrible apartheid past, and some that have been self-made, and some that continue to confront us. But we have faced enormous challenges in the past, and this is not new. We now need to strengthen our resolve moving forward to address these challenges. An economy that our country has is fertile ground for companies and businesses who are prepared to invest in human capital and take advantage of the opportunities that are replete. We've just come back from Japan, where we held the TICAD forum, where a number of African countries had gathered to be in conversation with the Japanese government. And prior to that, we held our own South African-Japanese business forum, and we were just really overwhelmed by the level of interest that Japanese companies continue to have in our economy, and they want to come in their great numbers to South Africa to our conference in November. So I call on all investors present here, particularly local investors, to be part of this new momentum. Let us be part of working together. The problems and the challenges we face are our common challenges. They are not just challenges for government. We want and need also investment from local investors, as well as we do from foreign investors. We all want to see a South Africa that is thriving and prosperous. This World Economic Forum, therefore, gives us a platform to project our country in the most positive manner. Much as we are facing all the challenges we need to project it as an investment destination once again. And we want to see a South Africa where all our citizens will enjoy equal opportunity to make a better life for themselves. Now, who else is there in our country to make that possible? It is all of us who are gathered here. We are the brains trust of this country in as far as growing the economy is concerned, and we are the people who are supposed to lead the charge and make all this possible so that we can create a better future for all our people. And despite the difficulties, this is a country that is bursting with opportunity, as was also articulated by the Japanese investors that we saw earlier in the last week. We all have a shared responsibility to nurture these opportunities, to highlight them, and to ensure that people do see them, and as business to also invest in these opportunities so that we can realize this South Africa that we all want. The South Africa we want is a South Africa where all our people can have prosperity and where all our people can share equitably in the economy of our country. Thank you very much.